Join me, Gregory Slies, on a journey of discovery here at the history scene, as I explore 2,000 years of Western Christendom. And keeping us company will be breathtaking basilicas and magnificent cathedrals and abbeys, once seen, certainly never forgotten. If you like what the history scene does, please subscribe and click the like button. It really helps us to develop the channel. Ambrose of Milan was a key figure in early Christianity. He became Bishop of Milan in 374 almost by accident, following the death of his Arian predecessor Auxentius. As a fair-minded local politician, he came to pacify the rowdy congregation of both Arian and Nicene Christians, who then proceeded unanimously to declare him bishop. He would later, however, take a strong position against the 4th century Arian heresy. Though not yet even baptized, he was fast-tracked into the post, essentially against his will, which was ultimately broken by the emperor's approval. Soon after, he adopted an ascetic life, giving away all his money to the poor. He was instrumental in defining the relationship between church and state, famously asserting the church's moral authority over emperors. A skilled preacher and theologian, he played a crucial role in the conversion of St Augustine to Christianity. Ambrose is also remembered for his contributions to liturgical music and for his writings, which continue to shape Christian thought today. He is remembered as a great saint and doctor of the church, and he is also remembered as a builder of great churches. This is the story of those churches. In contrast to the magnificent church architecture of late antiquity of Ravenna, for instance, such as the 6th century basilicas of San Vitale and San Apollinare, and the 5th century mausoleum of Galla Placidia, with all their spectacular decorative art, Milan's churches from this period have all but disappeared due to various destructive forces, fires, earthquakes, and sackings by barbarian invaders, and feature only in fragments in Romanesque and Renaissance reconstructions. There is, for instance, the Romanesque church of St Babylas, renovated in the 19th and 20th centuries, the Romanesque Benedictine monastic church of San Maurizio, with its breathtaking frescoes, rebuilt in the 16th century. There's the Basilica of San Lorenzo, dating back to the 4th century, but rebuilt many times since. And there's the Romanesque Gothic Cathedral Basilica of the Nativity of St Mary, with its spectacular interior that was built over the course of some 500 years. Of the most notable of Milan's churches, however, are the basilicas built by the city's bishop, Ambrose, in the late 4th century, 4 in total, constituting a ring on the periphery of Milan, each of which is situated on cemetery sites which were located on the city's arterial roads outside the walls. 3 of these have been excavated in Romanesque churches. To the south is the Basilica Apostolorum, rededicated later to San Nazaro. To the west lies the Basilica of St Ambrogio. To the north is the Basilica Virginum, dedicated later to San Simpliciano. And to the east, the Basilica of San Dionysius, of which nothing remains, although now the site is undergoing extensive archaeological excavations. The construction of these buildings represented not only immense cultural and theological significance, but also a symbolic reinforcement of the Church's authority over the state in matters of both doctrine and church administration in this city of imperial power. Dominating the physical landscape through architecture was to serve as a key method for Ambrose to extend the authority of his own community in a place where the Arian heresy had established a prominent presence. One could say that Ambrose styled his ring of churches on Emperor Constantine's construction of basilicas on prominent cemetery sites outside the walls of Rome, along arterial roads leading to the imperial capital some 50 years earlier. If Constantine could express his triumph as guardian of the church through an architectural program, so Ambrose could assert the church's authority over the state in the same way. It was a reversal of symbolic meaning which Ambrose certainly did not want lost. The Basilica Apostolorum fits the role of triumph well. Its design in cruciform style was precisely to celebrate the triumph of the cross at the Council of Aquileia in 381 over heretical Arianism, as well as the assertion of the assembled bishops that they, not the emperor, held authority over church matters. The cross shape here, however, did not so much intend to symbolize the redemption that Christ offered through his passion, as to assert victory, thereby reinforcing the symbolism that it had acquired by the end of the 4th century, primarily as an emblem of imperial spiritual authority, as well as victory over heresy and paganism. For Ambrose, in this sense, the design of the basilica was as much a political declaration as it was a religious statement.
He dedicated it to the apostles, hence the original name, Basilica Apostolorum. Unfortunately, there's not much of the original church that remained. Over the years, the church has been rebuilt, repaired. The church we see behind us is a Romanesque feature. Now, the other interesting thing is that in 397, the remains of St Lazarus were discovered, hence the name of the current church. Let's go inside to find out some more.
Although influenced by the cross-shaped martyrions of the East, like that of St Babylos in Antioch and the Church of the Apostles in Constantinople, the Basilica Apostolorum did not adopt the centralized design of Eastern martyriums, but rather a Roman cross design composed of a single nave longitudinal hall, flanked by projecting arms aligned to a transverse axis. In accommodating holy relics in a large congregational church, the Basilica Apostolorum managed to merge two ecclesiastical church designs and purposes, that of Eastern cruciform martyriums, which enclosed a centrally located altar over the commemorative burial place of martyrs, with a large hall-like space which retained a centrally located reliquary altar. The church originally housed relics of the apostles Peter and Paul, which had been sent from Rome by Pope Damasus in the late 4th century, and then later by those of the newly discovered martyr, Saint Nazarius. This dual-purpose church enabled Ambrose to preserve the cult of martyrs, while at the same time provide an imposing church structure for regular liturgical services. The former purpose, however, was clearly subservient to the latter, serving not as the primary function of the church, but as a means to reinforce the message of the liturgy. The Basilica of St Ambrogio started life as the Basilica Martyrum. Predating the Basilica Apostolorum, it was consecrated in 379 and was dedicated to the martyrs Gervasius and Protasius, hence the initial name of the church. The remains of the martyrs, however, arrived only after the church's completion. They enabled Ambrose to use the relics for liturgical purposes, just as in the Basilica Apostolorum. The basilica would later be renamed in honor of its patron, Ambrose. Unfortunately, not much of the original church is left. There's a few spectacular mosaics and a couple of columns and column bases, but the church is in Romanesque style. As you can see, the rounded arches of that period are indeed most telling. Although not much of the original structure may survive, excavations have revealed the original floor plan that shows a building of considerable substance that was a symbol of Milan's early Christian heritage. Architecturally, the church showcases Lombard Romanesque design with its distinctive brick facade, 2 bell towers, and a large courtyard. The original floor plan consisted of 3 naves that were divided by 13 columns on either side, fragments of which, as noted, can still be seen. The church's interior reflects its long history, with elements from different periods, such as the stunning 9th century golden altar by Volvino, and the apse, which displays a mosaic originating in the 4th century, though later restored, depicting Christ Pantocrator, or the Almighty, together with the martyrs St Gervasius and Protasius, and scenes from the life of St Ambrose. Behind the altar is the crypt, where the remains of St Ambrose are interred, which are flanked by those of Saints Gervasius and Protasius. To the side of the main altar is the chapel of San Vittore in Celdoro, which contains mosaic depictions of the 2 martyrs, as well as the oldest known depiction of Bishop Ambrose in the form of a mosaic. The chapel originally was separate from the main church. The Church of San Simpliciano blends classic Romanesque elements with subtle Gothic influences, featuring intricate stone carvings and a striking facade. The original name of the church was the Basilica Virginum, or the Basilica of the Virgins, and it formed part of the ring or crown of churches that Ambrose built around Milan in order to stamp the authority of the church on the city. Unfortunately, Ambrose did not live long enough to finish the church. This was done by Simplicianus, his successor, and the church now bears his name. Over the years, the church has undergone considerable repair and modifications, and what you see behind me now is essentially a 11th, 12th century Romanesque construction. Within the church, the relics of the martyrs Sicinio, Martyrio, and Alexandro are preserved in the 5th century chapel of San Simpliciano, accessible by a little door to the left of the apse. The Lombard people credit the intercession of the martyrs for the Lombard League's victory against Emperor Frederick I Barbarossa at the Battle of Legnano in 1176. According to legend, 3 doves flew from the San Simpliciano church on the day of the battle. The apse itself is host to the stunning early 16th century fresco of the Coronation of the Virgin by Begognone. Beyond its spiritual importance, the basilica stands as a testament to Milan's early Christian roots, making it a vital cultural and historical landmark in the city. The Church of San Dionysius, or San Dionigi, is unfortunately shrouded in mystery, owing to its total destruction at the end of the 18th century to make room for the public gardens in Porta Venezia. The site, however, is undergoing extensive archaeological excavations, and its troubled history is slowly revealing itself. Currently, however, we are mostly left to speculate and to navigate the few sources that we have. The first basilica was most probably founded by Ambrose in about 380 in Porta Orientale, today's Porta Venezia, to honour Bishop Dionysius, who had been exiled by Emperor Constantius II for having confronted him at the Council of Milan in 355 by insisting that all Arian bishops immediately accept Nicene Christianity. He was subsequently succeeded by the Arian bishop Auxentius, Ambrose's predecessor, as Bishop of Milan. Having died in exile between 361 and 362, Dionysius was honoured by the church built by Ambrose, who also interred his remains there. The original church was probably similar to that of the original basilica of San Nazaro. Its walls have been excavated together with those of the 9th century church. The church was redesigned in Romanesque style in the late 10th and early 11th century, when it also acquired a tall bell tower, which remained until the early 18th century and which in 1535 was incorporated into a new design which can be seen in the late 16th century sketches. This version of the church, however, was moved forward, with the bell tower being sited to its rear to make room for new defensive bastions, the so-called Spanish walls. Later on, the church also acquired a number of sizable buildings as the site became home to successive monastic communities. The development of the church complex can be seen in two early 18th century sketches, while its reorientation can be observed in two maps from the same period. Over the years, the basilica witnessed many destructive episodes amidst bloody conflicts between rival families, as well as looting, helpless as it was being so far away from the city walls. This would explain the many reconstructions and redesigns that the church experienced. Amidst all this, the remains of Saint Dionysius were moved in the early 16th century to Milan Cathedral, which also houses other relics from the basilica. In 1783, the church was demolished altogether to make room for the public gardens of Porta Venezia. St Ambrose's contribution to Western civilization is significant, and his architectural legacy represents his commitment to make things good at a time of great civilizational turmoil during the period of late antiquity. It just goes to show that great things develop in the most unexpected of circumstances. Thank you for watching, and join me next time as I explore the churches of Imperial Ravenna.